My name is Brendan Sharkey, a construction real estate specialist, and I have with me David Hackett, a tax partner, and we're going to discuss the autumn statement and its relationship to the construction real estate sector. Hi David, what's your initial thoughts on the autumn statement?
Yeah, it was very much a statement for looking after the low paid in these difficult times. So that came in the form of a significant increase in national minimum wage, which businesses are going to need to think about how they fund, and also in changes to national insurance contributions. So we've had a couple of percentage points knocked off employees' national insurance. And then also some reductions for the self-employed as well. With the freeze in income tax bands and the sort of fiscal drag where people are getting moved into higher rate tax bands, even though they're not earning any more money, this change on the NIC front will be a welcome for many of the low paid and even those on middle income. In addition, there were some tax announcements on full expensing, the capital allowances that allows you to write off 100% of the cost of plant and machinery against the profits of the same year. So it gives people certainty now that they can plan ahead with their plant and machinery spend. Originally, it was announced as a 3-year program, but they've now made that permanent, which is great news for large construction companies that want to really plan on their capital expenditure. In the SME sector, we still have the annual investment allowance, which runs at £1 million a year. So there's a question around how many SMEs will be spending more than that and whether they'll really benefit from this announcement. But there's an analysis to do there as to which of the two regimes is more beneficial. There was also an extension to investment zones and free ports where there are significant tax breaks for running businesses in certain areas. Those tax breaks have been extended from a 5-year period to a 10-year period. So again, giving a bit more certainty and time for people to plan. But I suppose there needs to be more done, in my opinion, on the investment zones to really promote them and get people's awareness and understanding of them. What were your takeaways from it, Brendan?
Yeah, I think your initial thoughts are on the same plane as myself, actually. And I can see what he's trying to do in terms of the lower paid. And I think he really had to do something, to be really honest with you. Yeah, the one area that now that I've looked at it in more detail is this commitment to, if you like, complete the national grid within 7 years. They've been talking about doing it in 14 years, but there's been a review and recommendations, and I'm sure this will have a dramatic effect for the construction industry over the next few years. And that's going to be a further commitment to have connections. They were talking about 5 years coming down to 6 months, which might be a little bit optimistic, but there's been such a backlog of people waiting to get connections. This needed to be dealt with, and hopefully, and I think they've got this special energy plan that will go with it, which again will help construction industry understand where there is going to be the opportunity to make the connection. So I think that was a really good point. Another area, although they haven't really done anything for, if you like, to help the housing industry per se. There was no stamp duty reliefs given or anything like that, which I think was slightly disappointing. And if I'm honest, I expected something. What I did see was the Affordable Homes Guarantee Scheme. 3 billion has been put into that fund, and that will help housing associations probably spend a bit of money to do repairs and the like, but also maybe to put some more new housing on the market. So yeah, there were two bits that I thought were really good. I think the idea of being able to say, well, you can now, with permitted development, convert a house into 2 flats. Yes, that simplifies it, it speeds it up, but probably doesn't change the world. But they do talk, the Conservatives, about having greater freedom for planning and the like, and I suppose that's just an offset. And just one other thing for me, but talking about planning, which is a big issue because it's local authorities don't have the resources. They're now saying the big corporates can pay to have a premium service and first in, get to the top of the pile. That sounds great. They definitely asked for it, but I'm sure there's going to be problems because it could be that the big boys dominate the market and the small SMEs don't get a look in. But let's go and see what happens when it comes into being. Have you got anything else, David? I've rushed a little bit there, but I didn't know if you've got anything else on the tax side.
No, but I think in terms of disappointments, we talked about there were no infrastructure commitments, were there?
Yeah,
There were no big ticket infrastructure commitments.
You're right.
And also anything on sort of reducing sort of the carbon footprint of existing housing stock. Nothing on that, although we were potentially expecting some. So there was a lot. He could have gone a lot further, including on taxation, and he hasn't done at this point. I wonder whether maybe he's saving some things for early next year ahead of an election.
I'm absolutely convinced he's keeping his powder dry. I'm absolutely convinced that he's set the scene. He's done a few things. He's ticked a few boxes, but I think he'll look to do something more in the budget and try and get some more motivation for people. So so that's really a good place to finish, I suppose. So we're heading to say, let's wait and see until we get to March, I suppose. So we'll have to come back in March and have another look at what he's up to.
Absolutely.